Hello, everyone. This is Scott Roberts with Explore Scientific and the Explore Now series of talks that we've been running. And with me tonight are Chee and Andrew Fazekas, and they are with Astronomers Without Borders. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Awesome to be here.
Yeah. I have some information on both of you, which we have actually created some Explore Alliance ambassador pages for you as well. But Zoe, you had a fairly short bio to give to me, but I'm sure there's a bigger story. You say that since you were a young adult that you've always had a passion for science and science education with an enthusiasm for astronomy. Being with Astronomers Without Borders for this last 3 years, I don't doubt that at all, And I got to work with you with membership drive and all of that, so that was really cool. You volunteered with the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada in December. Was it December? No, January maybe. I forget. But recently, I was actually up in Canada just right after the first COVID victim in New York City. So I arrive in New York City. That day they announced the first COVID victim there, and so I'm in New York City for about a week, and then I go up to Canada, up to Toronto, and get to give a talk there to the Royal Astronomical Society, which was really cool. That was with Steve Malia, who arranged that, who has Ontario Telescope, which you guys probably have heard of.
Of course.
Yep. It says you've lent your business knowledge and experience as a consultant to Astronomers Without Borders for the last 3 years, which we mentioned before. You've had lots of international programs with this group, so that's very cool.
Yeah. We're so proud.
Yeah.
We're very proud at AWB.
That's right. And you say your most recent campaign was to recycle and send 40,000 solar eclipse glasses to South America, to Peru, Chile, and Argentina for the July 2019 total eclipse. But right now you're the interim executive director for Astronomers Without Borders, taking on that role after Mike Simmons's retirement. So that's a big role, and fantastic. And then Andrew Fazekas. You are also known as the, I'm going to butcher this, dude. the sky night guy, is that right? Do I have that correct?
The night sky guy.
The night sky guy, that's right.
Yep. Some people told me that.
You work with National Geographic. You've written books. We just looked at your Star Trek book that has a nice little foreword with Captain Kirk there. So it's really William Shatner.
Any
yes,
space nerd would have read yes.
Star Trek nerd.
It's so cool, man. It's so cool. So plus you are a contributor to National Geographic, and you run television programs about the sky and write a column about astronomy. I think that's very cool. And you've also been someone that is the communications manager for Astronomers Without Borders for how many years now?
6 years now.
Wow.
6 years. Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah. It's just It's been
So,
awesome.
yeah, so I have been involved with Astronomers Without Borders since it kind of got started. I remember the 24 Hours of Astronomy, where Astronomers Without Borders helped conduct the world's largest star party. It went around the world. I don't. It was well over 1 million people participated in this. I think directly participated, which is
Yes.
fantastic. And that led to something called Global Astronomy Month, which is, celebrated every April, right?
It's our flagship event. That's right.
That's right. It's fantastic. And where should we get started here? We want to talk about the one sky vision of Astronomers Without Borders.
Yeah. Oh, it's so important. I mean, especially, I know we're going to be talking about this a little bit later, but with all the COVID pandemic and everybody's isolated now, and I know the States has been lifting their lockdowns, but there are other countries who are just starting. And so I really feel like it's so important that folks can go and find some normalcy. And really, the night sky is one of those things that doesn't really change every night, and we can all look up at the night sky and really feel together. And these days, I just feel it's so important at AWB that we get that message out. And so, it's really become actually something more important to me in the last little while than, it has always been, but certainly now.
The meaning is, I think it has struck us, I think, quite a bit in that, under such strain that humanity is going under. You could see such psychological strain. Such a strong vision. Mike Simmons put something so amazing. The vision of one people, one sky. It says so much, and it resounds with people. Yeah. And with the current situation that we're going under everywhere, it's amazing to see. That's one thing that I've noticed as being in communication. Getting in contact with people on all these different countries scattered across the globe. And there's just the same story coming back, how isolating it is, what the night sky has meant to people individually. So I think it's kind of strange, but I think I've seen the evolution of AWB over time, and that we've penetrated many different countries, local communities, going in, micro focusing on very little small places. Mm-hmm. But here suddenly we just got the whole world, seeing this vision, almost understanding this vision. And it's really weird if you look at what's happening. If you just look at mainstream media, and you see, we're all in it together, and all of these kind of hashtags that are going out that really resonate with the one people, one sky. It's incredible. It's like people are finally getting what the vision is. The moment that you can't just at a whim hang out with a bunch of other people, okay? Yeah. Suddenly you realize, it's that old saying, you don't know what you have till you don't have it anymore, right? Exactly.
So, but I would say that the essence of astronomy is that, we are, I think of us kind of in this fraternity and this lineage of astronomers dating to the first time somebody looked up at the sky and saw the Milky Way or whatever, saw a shooting star, so to speak. This feeling of awe, and I think that all astronomers get to a tipping point when they're first starting. And they finally get it that they are interconnected with the entire universe. They understand that we are made of star stuff, and once that settles in and develops a deeper meaning within yourself, then you understand there's really not a lot of difference between you and the other guy and the other country, and so this idea, the Astronomers Without Borders, the borders start to melt away, especially when you look at images of, let's say, the Earth from the moon, and what the astronauts said when they saw that, Well,
the astronauts have that overview effect, right?
Right.
The Orion
Right.
perspective, and it's really that again speaks to one planet, one people.
That's
You
right.
see variations on the theme, but it all speaks to the same thing. And what I think is also interesting, I'm thinking while what you're saying there, Scott, is that this evolution of amateur astronomy too, and thinking that before the digital age, it was very different how things were. And for AWB, the digital age is really what's allowed us to really shine at Astronomers Without Borders. This is our foundation of being able to virtually connect people. This technology that we have, is leveraging. And obviously with this COVID situation, this is just it's really taken a new perspective, I think, and a new appreciation that people have of, well, there's this platform. People are, discovering what Zoom is, and things like that.
Because all the tools have emerged and matured, during this time. And, even when platforms like Zoom, hardly anyone used, a lot of people use Zoom, but they were using it for business purposes. It wasn't for family meetings, right? So now suddenly people just go, gosh, I can download Zoom for free. Okay, meet with all my family members. I've heard of parties. I was actually in a Zoom birthday party, stuff like that, But these platforms, leveraged the right way, are perfect platforms for astronomers. And I think you guys have a lot of examples of that, or information.
And Scott, we were talking about this before. I remember in our previous conversation, you had mentioned, and that stuck with me, is that astronomers were early adapters, right? The amateur astronomers were early adapters of digital technology.
Yep, that's right. They were the first ones to jump in with the email, and so and you remember this. We were using Unix command language to go get our email. There was I remember invoking VI or something, some command to see my email.
Oh man,
there were no web pages, at this time. Yeah. And then seeing my first web page, which was literally just an image and a horizontal bar on a gray background, with some text. And I thought, oh my God, this is the future.
This is the future. BBS, remember postings. Oh my God.
I went and showed people at work. I was working at Mead Instruments at the time, and they looked at this and they go, Scott, this is not the future. Who's going to fund the internet? How is it going to get funded? This nothing will replace this catalog.
That's right.
You know what, though? I do have to say something about the whole idea of, astronomers being, the headway of, the digital age, because it really stems from what is sharing. I mean, I think astronomers at heart are just crazy sharers. They want to share their experience.
That's right.
Want to, and I think that's another huge part of AWB is that whole idea of getting over the border of the actual geographical border. We're using technology to do that. I think that's a whole thing that's amazing about astronomers.
Yeah, and at Astronomers Without Borders, just so the audience here knows too. I mean, we're in 145 different countries. We have over 11,000 members, and we're growing.
We're growing.
I should know those numbers. I don't even know those numbers.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, we get regularly a trickle of new people popping up where we've never, seen before. Going, I'd like to be a member. One of our newest one is Kazuya Ayani in Japan. Yeah. He's our new Japanese national coordinator.
And our national coordinator network is growing. It's incredible because these people are so passionate when you talk with them. And that whole sharing thing, they totally get it. They're right in there.
They're clamoring. They're just they're waiting to want to share what. And it's great because this is what AWB does. We offer a platform, a voice for people around the world so that we can show that we are one people. We break, I don't know if we're breaking borders or we're transcending borders. Transcending borders. It's hard to break borders, let's be honest.
Do the borders actually really exist? Anyways, when you fly out beyond the Earth, you can't see the borders anymore, right?
No.
You can't see the borders anymore. They're all erased. And so
I think, one scientist,
made and
yeah, one scientist told me they said, the only real border right now of concern for humanity is the one between humans and the virus, the coronavirus. That's the border that we're all united.
A bunch of us. I don't know, but it is interesting. The whole coronavirus, pandemic that's going on it's driven some people just nuts, because of the boredom that might have set in. I think that there have been progressions, in the astronomy, in the telescope business, like what I'm involved with. What we're seeing, because we're in the hobby industry, serious hobby industry, we saw people that had not picked up their telescope in years.
Yeah.
Now they're home for weeks on end, okay? And they started to remember, what made them happy about some hobby that they had, and they dug it out and they started using it again. And I'll tell you this, the astronomy retailers around the world were very, and still are, very, very busy. Busier than the Christmas season. I mean, it's hard to keep up with the pace right now, so that's and it's just because people, I think they had the time to slow down a little bit, and not fill in every 30-minute segment of their lives until they passed out in bed, okay, where they could go out and into their own backyards and look up at the stars, and breathe and reconnect, so.
And that's something that I think is so important. I mean, we've got two young girls, 11 and 12, handful of young ladies. And, the days are long. They're not at school. They haven't been at school since mid-March. They are doing some kind of quasi online homework, kind of few hours of Zoom with teachers. It's been very difficult and for them. And so there's a lot of stress. And, we've been, here, we're located in Montreal, Canada, and it's really been quite a lockdown here, socially. Everybody's sticking at home. They're taking it very seriously. Everything's been literally closed down. And so, they're not going out socially. And one of the things that we've done, too, is gone out stargazing a bit at night.
Good.
And I've noticed that with my girls, even if I just spend 10, 15 minutes just looking out and just showing them a few things, they're already preteens, so they're going, Dad, like, hello.
The
everything
embarrasses
their
them.
eyes, right? And I'm going, they're showing you. I said, come on, just give your dad a chance. Just let's go out. And so we go out on the backyard, and I show them a few things in the sky, and then they go, oh, wow, okay, cool. And then I see them a little bit, they calm down, and the stress level has gone down. I find it's a fan. And I'm going to tell that to the audience out there. If you've got kids, and and you're into stargazing, and even if you're not, if you just explore stargazing together as a family, it will bring down the stress level. And I find going to bed at night before bed, that breathing of fresh air, just stepping outside, looking up at the stars, it calms you down. Right. And it's something very interesting
for you. It's good for your health.
Oh, it's certainly good
very
for
much.
you.
Good for your mind, good for your health. It slows your heartbeat down. All these things, So I want to take a moment and recognize some of the people who are with us tonight. We do have Stephen Molly, and he corrected me. It wasn't December or January. It was March, okay, that I was out there.
Wow.
It seems that far.
I was right into the wire there. When I came back, I'm on that airplane with this mask on, Not the same mask, of course, but anyways, we have Philip Mueller. He says he wants to explore scientific telescope. We can make that happen, but on another show, okay? So Charlie Walsh, who is a regular. Thank you, Charlie, for tuning in. Gary Palmer, who has become a regular on our shows and participated on our shows as well. He says, "Hi, I'm watching from the UK where it is cloudy tonight." Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
There's always tomorrow night.
Yeah, there's always image processing, Gary. So
Yeah.
That's right.
that's right. Yeah. Stephen Mollia says news groups wear the best. Okay. Yeah. And Carlos Hernandez, a close friend, he participated in one of the Explore Alliance's programs at Yerkes Observatory. And so just right before the historic Yerkes telescope was supposed to close down, we have one last hurrah there. The only hurrah, the only public outreach program that they had on that scale before. And then, University of Chicago decides to close it down. Really happy to say that it's opening back up and that the Yerkes Future Foundation is taking off. So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Bogdan Irami. Okay. Hi, I'm a Romanian watching from Germany. I think someone bought some equipment here because, man, we have some weather now. That's true. You buy a telescope, and the more expensive it is, there's some sort of an equation of how many clouds.
That's right.
And how many days that's going to be. So, John Reed, hello from Halifax. Alex Kotner, good evening from Sanger, California. And Stephen Hauser, hello from Idaho. Late again as usual. Well, Stephen, you're not that late yet. We still have a lot of the show to go through. But we touched on the inspiration and hope that Astronomers Without Borders has given. But do you have any stories that you can share with us about some of these?
Sure. We have, what we'll do is talk a little bit about Global Astronomy Month this year because it was really a special one.
Well, look, Scott, you've been with AWB a long time, right?
I have.
So, like we said at the beginning, it's a flagship. Global Astronomy Month is a flagship event, and it was born out of the International Year of Astronomy, the 100 hours of astronomy that Mike was pivotal in coordinating. And so that's the birth of where this comes from. And it's just taken off every year. Worldwide amateur astronomy community has really adopted this as being their cornerstone of public outreach of the year.
Right.
And so it's just
and what was the feature is a global star party. So everybody would go to star parties around the world. Right. Well, not this year.
And I tell you.
Yeah. So did you guys expect for Global Astronomy Month to just implode because of coronavirus?
Yeah, pretty much.
But I remember when we were
outside. March, I think.
Yeah, it was mid-March. It was like
March
8th or 10th or something, and we're looking on my phone and I'm going, oh, they're shutting this down. That was when NEAF. We were supposed to go to NEAF.
Yeah, right.
NEAF in the expo, Astro Expo in Suffern, New York, and we were like all gung-ho. We were getting ready to go to NEAF. I have a booth there and everything just collapsed, right? Everything shut down. Day by day, you just see everything more and more. And then, we were getting emails, I guess, from a lot of our network going, what's going to happen? They were asking us, like, are you going to do something? How are we going to handle it? And so we're going, okay, so either we shut this down or we
not have it this year.
And then we kind of sat back, and I think as a team, we came together as we have a very tight team of 5 people that come together regularly as a staff, and we go, we were really disheartened. Because we're going, what are we going to do? I mean, this is what people get. This is about getting together. Right. And then we realized, well, hold on a second. Just because we're physically distant doesn't mean we have to be socially distant. And we digitally social, right?
That's right.
So that was kind of like the pivot point for us in terms of the way we're thinking about it. So, no, we're going to go gung-ho with GAM 2020, and we're going to put a different twist on it in that we're going to make it totally virtual, obviously, and really advocate for people's health and safety in our community being foremost. Take care of yourself, guys. But there's some idea. Here's what, and in fact, we didn't even have to come up with a lot of ideas.
No.
They were doing it all
Amazing.
themselves. People,
Amazing.
yeah. So we've got some. We'll show you some pictures here. Let's share our screen here.
Okay.
All right. Some cool stuff of what we're talking about. Let's see if this works out. Give me a second here.
There we go.
Can you see that?
I can. Yes.
All right.
All right.
So
this is in India, I suppose, huh?
That's great. So what's really amazing is these little folks, we're just not allowed to do, to go to school. Their schools are shut down. But gosh, I mean, they went, there's our partner in India, Space India, who spread every year. Every year they, consistently participate in Global Astronomy Month. And they put out a call for children to participate in any way. You see that there's that little girl with her painting. And oh, goodness, yeah. And, it went around the world like this. We had children participate.
They had readings. It was really interesting. They had readings from books, like they would read aloud certain sections that would be potentially inspirational for the next generation in terms of space exploration. They built models, scale models of satellites, rockets, and future, past historical to all the way to future concept stuff. Really amazing, bringing kids really into it. Like this year, we had more kids participate, I think, than ever before. Right.
And of course, we had the asteroid search campaign that runs every year. They did it, and the ISAC asteroid organization, they were really great this year because they accepted singular children with a parent, which made this an amazing event. So everybody could really participate in that.
So here's a few slides. Just let me see if I can come up here with the next slide. It's very poignant. I think like what this is really symbolic. I think of amateur astronomy in 2020. Right?
Yeah.
This is it. This is, there's not too much to say about this, but but it's so heartening to see folks out there. They were just doing that. We weren't asking them to do any, they're participating. We just said, we'd love to hear what you're doing, how you're doing it under the circumstance. And they were, respecting social distancing, making sure they have personal, protective wear.
Backyards, balconies and cities. People were looking up at the sky, everywhere, and it was so great.
Here's another really enthusiastic member of our community. She's in Malaysia, Sayayira. She produced her own vlog about stargazing, how to do stargazing in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Just fantastic, what a great initiative, and we're here to support this. We'll put it out to the world to see what's going on. And here's another example. These guys are in Brazil, the Gunstar Group, which is one of the most active AWB astronomy clubs. Again, they're just like, they're so enthusiastic. It's just, I love it. And you can see here some pictures of them posing with their scopes.
Yeah.
It is really cool. It is totally cool.
Yeah, so cool.
And they're doing their best. They're making do with the current situation they have and looking at it, taking it optimistically and doing. Look at this picture. I think you can actually see what's really cool for me, guys. I just noticed this is there's the Orion Constellation right above his head.
Tower, yeah.
There's the belt right there and the sword.
Yeah, and it's totally different orientation, right?
From Brazil, yeah. That's neat.
That's totally cool. That is totally cool. It's so encouraging to see the human spirit in this because they're not letting the pandemic defeat them. And there are a lot of people that had that feeling. There's been a lot of psychologists that have weighed in on some of the depressing effects of this kind of thing and being shut in and all these things. And of course, you know, I mean, the tragedy has struck with a lot of people. Almost all of us know of a really bad story about this, but it is inspiring to see this. You know, it
The
really
human spirit goes on. See, the
Yeah.
human spirit goes on. It's amazing. And it's, you know, it's like what we've been saying. We'll say it again, is that people are finding solace in the hobby of astronomy.
That's right. Well
You know?
put, Andrew.
Yeah,
Well
I
put.
really, it's a very touching thing to see. I'm looking at this picture, you know, it's just like
Mhm.
amazing, you know, like that they just do it anyway, you know.
Yeah.
It's like they're gonna go and they're sharing it online. This is what
I love that.
this is what we were so we were so tickled pink all month
Month,
long,
yeah.
that you're going like, I can't believe that people are really taking the time to share their pictures with us. So
Yes.
it was
Right.
great.
Did you want to talk before we move on? Do you want to talk about the video that our national
my gosh,
coordinator
that's
did? 'Cause
right.
You want to
this was
show that?
fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this. We had a campaign right at the tail end of Global Astronomy Month, and it was brought forth by the idea was brought forth by our new national coordinator from Japan, Kazuya Ayani, and it was a worldwide photo campaign. Calling out people to check out the conjunction between the crescent moon and Venus at sunset between April 25th and 27th.
I remember that. Sure.
And we put the call out to everybody, and it was incredible because we actually got over 200, well over 200
Yeah.
submissions.
Wow.
And
From all over the world.
Literally all over the
Amazing.
world. And what our national coordinator what Kazuya wanted to do is gather these and line them up so that line up the moon and Venus.
Okay.
But then all the photos are oriented differently, of course, because they're on taken from different parts of the world. Some in the southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, you know, along the equator. And he basically created this animation out of that. And we'd love to show that to you.
Sure.
Let
When
everyone
we come back,
see.
there's some questions coming in, some comments, and so. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this, but I'm going to kind of scoot ahead past the credits and stuff. So there we go, and I think that we are about right there. We'll let that run. Please enjoy the animation, and we will. Beautiful.
And that's all thanks to our community.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. That is awesome. A couple of questions, or actually a comment from Stephen Hauser. He says he can hardly wait to retire so he can do outreach full time. How many people do you think are, I mean, if you look at the population of members or active people in AWB, is it younger? Is it middle aged? Is it retired? Uh, what's the breakout like?
right, it's across the board. We have a lot of older people who do outreach. So it really is across the board, though. And we do touch teachers and, maybe people who don't necessarily think they're doing outreach per se,
Hmm.
but they really are. Like I said, I don't know. I find that astronomers or, amateur astronomers are just sharers, and they naturally do that. And outreach is just something that's in our blood.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because we do have a sizable population of our memberships are educators, are professional educators,
sure.
are teachers.
That's right.
That speaks to them a lot. Like, I mean, and some of the quality you can see of the outreach that's being done. It's incredible.
And I have to say something else about, our network and the people that make up our network is what makes us so special is not just the fact that we do outreach. It's more than that. It's that we don't do outreach all the time, that we have a professional life, that we have something else in our lives. That means that outreach is something that's very important, that we would do it outside of what we normally do, right? And so I really find that the talents that, we're finding in our community is incredible.
That's something that, as I guess in the last, this has really been, for me personally, has been sort of like in the last year only where I've started, this wasn't really my purview, but looking at the membership, I've been looking more at the membership, engaging more with them. Mm-hmm. And I'm finding out that, these are people that are doing astronomy not as a profession. Mm-hmm. It's a hobby. And where they come from, the talent that they get, where they're, what their careers are. Yeah. We have bankers. Oh, yeah. We have wildlife biologists. We have accountants.
Yeah, lots of
we have it's crazy. It's just where they're coming from. It's incredible what they're doing with, and this is I think there's a lot of untapped talent. That's sure. There, and this is the strength of Astronomers Without Borders. Absolutely. Because we can penetrate and be able to do certain things because of those talents that people have, 100%. And connections and things like that.
And don't forget the difference in cultures, right? Too, is that because we're all over the world, it just naturally is that. Idea of breaking borders and, not hesitating to talk to people over the world. And I really felt that this Global Astronomy Month. I don't know if you did, but I felt that.
I think I think with this Beauty Without Borders photo campaign, I think we've talked about this. I said, we're going to do more of these. We want to do more of these because we really see the engagement of the community stepping up. And these were, a lot of the photos, like I said, they were done by smartphones and they were done by non-astronomers.
Yeah, right.
These were people who are new to the hobby, who are just like casual sky watchers.
Yes.
And everybody has a smartphone. They pick up their smartphone and they tried out this. And I think that for us to, and then our national coordinator in Japan to take the time and effort, to stitch them together, stack all of these together. That was quite a feat to do that.
Oh, yeah. Right.
It took them a few weeks to really doing this on the side.
It just blended in where they were just one on top of the other.
Right? One on top of each other, and to take that time to do that. But in this project, I think, showcases what that one people, one sky message.
And you don't forget, right? the way that this whole formulated was from our national coordinators. They put out the call. I mean, in Brazil, they were on the television. We had others with, excuse me, on their social media.
In Japan blew up our I had to turn on the translation because, in Japanese, they came out like our social media feed was flooded from Japan, which we'd never seen before. And that was because of our national coordinator.
There is an astronomy culture that's very intense in Japan, in general. I mean, I've been to the Tainai Star Party a couple of times.
Wow.
Whole families go out with all their telescopes, You sometimes see that in the Americas, but not a lot, So I was really, really impressed with that. When I went down to Brazil to see Marcello, who's a national coordinator for AWB, the intensity of interest by teenagers into astronomy, that was really refreshing. So, it's wonderful that there's a program like AWB that's this international organization. Maybe it's the only real international organization for astronomy in the world that's so accessible. I mean, what does it take to become a member of AWB?
Oh my goodness, it's free. Go onto our website. Absolutely.
What better membership program is that? So right.
Right now it's free. I mean, we ask, if this speaks to you, please, become a paid member. Absolutely. Donate. I mean, it will help our programs, not just the ones that we were just talking about, Global Astronomy Month, but we'll talk a little bit about the eclipses too.
Yeah, let's.
Sure. And we have other things going on. So, we would really appreciate donations or becoming a paid member.
Or a contributing member, a sustaining member. There's different categories, tier levels, definitely. But it's the basic is free. So you can be part of our community and
then there's no reason why you shouldn't be a member, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's right.
Exactly. Anyone listening to this should sign up. That's awesome. That is awesome. So let's talk about maybe some of the other programs. Let's talk about more, about the entire, if we can, the umbrella of AWB.
Right. So really it's about building community, right? And one of the programs that we have ongoing, and it's in part thanks to you, Scott, is the yes.
You know who you are.
In the 2017 total solar eclipse in the U.S., was it millions of people went to view?
I'm going to share our screen so folks can see.
Okay.
Millions of people viewed that amazing event, and you and Mike apparently, now this is just hearsay, so you could correct me if I'm wrong. You and Mike spoke with each other and said, you know what? Let's collect these glasses.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So we're at the Astronomical League convention in Casper, Wyoming. And Mike's in the next booth next to mine, and we're talking about what's going on, and Mike said, and we were talking about what's going to happen with all the eclipse classes, what's going to happen with them all. There was hundreds of millions of people that came to go look at the eclipse. Just my company sold something like 5 or 6 million eclipse glasses. And I'm not the biggest one, okay? So, but what do you do with an eclipse glass? It's plastic and paper. It's not really recyclable, from in a traditional sense, and so Mike had the brilliant idea, we'll have a eclipse glass recycling program, and so he started thinking about how are we going to do this? Where are we going to process this stuff? And I said, well, I've got 60,000 square feet in Arkansas. Maybe we could find a spot. And oh my gosh, be careful what you pray for, okay?
Yeah,
We
you got
had
pummeled.
people sending in eclipse glasses by next day air, okay?
Yeah, they were serious. I mean, we
Yeah.
counted it. We had over 1,000 collection centers
Yes.
across the U.S.
Amazing.
There were like fire stations, dentist offices, libraries, lawyers' offices, shopping
Highway
centers,
patrol.
highway patrol. That's right.
Military were collecting.
That's right.
Goodness, it was everywhere. You know, it's not the normal, usual place like museums you would think or libraries. No, we got
everything.
We got
all,
everybody.
even just kids were collecting them.
Oh, scouts.
Yeah, scouts. Yeah.
Yeah. So here in Northwest Arkansas, I mean, I have to recognize the Sugar Creek Astronomical Society that came in and volunteered. Walmart employees came and volunteered because this is
There we go.
There we
Walmart,
go.
right?
You see that?
Let's see. Oh yeah. Let's share the screen here.
There
we go. Yeah, see,
that's Scott?
that is part of this group that included Walmart employees that came. The lady in the first seat there, she's with NWA Space. But people came in and put in community hours to do this. We also have a lot of retirement in this area. Bella Vista is a huge retirement community, and they turned out, to help and sort through eclipse glasses. So we had to teach them what is a good eclipse glass, what is a fake counterfeit eclipse glass, okay, because there was a lot of that. And, so they vetted these glasses, and those are the glasses that you've been asking us to send out. So, yes.
Absolutely. So just like you said in the intro, we successfully sent 40,000 glasses to South America last July. And these are some photos of that event. And what was really wild, Scott, you're going to love this, is we have a picture of a gentleman wearing an eclipse glass with the American flag. I mean, and he's in Argentina, and it was 2 years later.
Right.
And I'm thinking, does this not speak to AWB or not? I mean, we're not even, breaking borders anymore. We're like traveling through time now.
Yes.
That one glass was handed over 2 years later to see another, the same type of eclipse.
That's true.
So it was really, really wonderful. And I have to also mention what kind of came out of that was that we also connected two schools, one in California with one in Chile, that spoke about their similar experience. So 2 years later, we had
we had the ones in California sharing, what the kids in Chile should expect to see, and the kids in Chile were asking questions. What is this going to be like? And so it was really cool. There was a really good conversation going between these kids that are separated by such vast distances and culture, and it's just it was just an incredible thing to see.
Right, and I have to thank the people who made it happen. Of course, all of the folks that were on the ground within the countries disseminating all the glasses, but also we had great support from the U.S. Embassy, as well as we've got the other embassies that helped. So we were just very lucky that it worked out fantastic. Mm-hmm. So, and that I'll just use that as a segue because there's another one upcoming. So the one in June 21st, right, very soon. Again, thank you, Scott. We're going to be sending at least 8,000 glasses to Ethiopia, and they will be sending them around. And remember, everybody's on lockdown. So they're actually hoping that maybe things will open up for small groups. We don't know.
But I think a lot of them will be individually handed out. We're really excited because we want to tell that story. Like, I'm really curious as a communications guy. I want to know how this is all going to go down. Like, I want to follow the story of these glasses. So we're hoping to get some good visuals, hear some things, where it's going, the destinations. I think a lot of people who donated the glasses back in 2017 I think they would appreciate to see that, the destination of these,
Oh,
see
sure.
kids,
Sure.
you know, see the kids like these, you know, experiencing something that otherwise that they wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't have the
Absolutely.
opportunity to.
Right.
Right.
And I have to give a shout out to the African Astronomical Society, who are many of them are our national coordinators.
Mhm.
They are doing an amazing job down there. They are putting together informational booklets. I think that's kind of in print right now. Of course, there's the glasses that they're waiting for. And thank you to the Ethiopian embassy. We got them on board thanks to our national coordinator.
And what we found out, Zoe, remember what we just found out yesterday was that the
glasses, the package is actually being accompanied by PPE. So going from the U.S. to Ethiopia. So our glasses are on the same shipment.
Of all the personal protective, you know, wear that all the healthcare workers need.
Yeah.
That is being gathered from the U.S.
Okay.
The Ethiopian embassies putting that on a diplomatic flight with our glasses included with that. So I thought that was so cool.
Yeah,
they think
so
it's that
amazing.
important. So this, you know,
Yes.
education, you know, and scientific literacy is such a big deal. Such a big deal. You know, when I did an outreach thing in Uruguay, I had donated a telescope through UNESCO, and this is just one telescope. And I can tell you that in the United States, we've done donations of telescopes to clubs and many star parties and stuff like that. And, you know, people that win it, they're excited, of course. But here I'm donating a telescope, not one of our most expensive ones, okay, but a good one. And the national television turns out. The Minister of Education reports to the president of Uruguay directly, was there, and he announced to me that they had just given laptops and internet to every kid in the country.
Wow.
That's big. That's huge.
That is.
And he whispered and he said, some of these places have dirt floors, but they have internet and they have a laptop. And he says, this is going to change our country.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So the little spark of things, you know, so. But AWB does it again and again, and they do it every year. And the people that are inspired around the world, you know, all of your national or international coordinators doing this, fantastic for them. You know, I hope they watch this. I hope that they understand how appreciated they are.
We are so appreciative of them.
Yeah.
This is
they are amazing.
This is what we're here for, is just to give a voice, a platform, and facilitate. You know, that's what we're doing, facilitate the good work that everyone does around the world. Yeah. And
I want to, you know, and I know all three of us have talked about this, but we're so grateful for the vision and hard work that the life's work that Mike Simmons put in to create the program. It was awesome, you know.
I mean, it's incredible what he came up with. It's like it obviously speaks to the world. So, you know, that's what we're here for. Carry on that vision,
right?
You know, and just make it bigger and better.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a question from Philip Mueller. He says, Zoe and Andrew, have you seen an uptick on interest in astronomy during the pandemic, which we did, but then after the NASA SpaceX successful mission? How did that, was that any effect that you're aware of?
Well, it's interesting because first off, generally whenever NASA does something, NASA, you know, that's like the holy grail in terms of space missions, right? When it comes to space exploration. So people just gobble it up everywhere. In our community, we see a lot of live streams. If they have the ability, if they have the internet capability, they will do a special event. And do that kind of stuff normally. I mean, if it's a pandemic, I think it's different, obviously, but they would gather and have that as a focus, a party. This particular one that happened just this past weekend with that historic, you know, SpaceX launch and America being back in the game of human space exploration. Yes, we did, but that was also in part because we were really fortunate because one of our advisors on our board of advisors, Tim DeBenedictis,
Yep.
who's basically he's a software architect, and he's created an app called Orbitrack. And Orbitrack is basically tracks satellites, including Starlink and the space station, on mobile, on Androids and iOSs.
Very cool.
So he basically gave us a deal for the upcoming week of being able to share 50% of the sales, all sales around the world, on this app. And so
what's the name of the app again?
Is Orbitrack.
Okay,
Orbitrack, and it's available on Google Play or
Orbitrack or something.
ORBI Orbit Track. ORBITATRACK.
K. Okay. Orbit.
Yeah, with a
track.
K at the end. That's right.
Orbit, but just one T, right?
One T. That's right.
There we go. Okay.
And it's a great app. I've put it onto my phone too, and
that's beautiful.
It's really that. I mean, the guy is like amazing what he's created, and he's, by the way, Tim was the co-creator of Sky Safari.
Yeah. The guy's a genius.
Oh,
he is.
So
he is.
You know, he loved. I mean, this is his passion. He's a super passionate guy. So anyway, we're really stoked because he's on our board of advisors, and he said right away, "I want to help AWB. I want to do something." So I was like, "Yeah, well, let's tie it with this launch." And now the Starlink launched, and we're seeing numbers, and we're so thankful because the money that we earn from this are going to directly support our programs that we're doing, like the Eclipse glasses directly.
It's so needed. That's right. That's great. A couple of more comments, Eclipse glass related. Stephen Hauser says, I gave away 250 Eclipse glasses. Wish I had bought more. He said, Ramsden sent me 100 of them. You guys know who Stephen Ramsden is, right? He is the Charlie Bates Solar Astronomy Project. Very well known around the world. Gary Palmer in the UK says, when we give out sunglasses to a group of children and they look up at the sun, it's really nice hearing the wows and comments from them. Yeah.
Anyone in outreach, right? All of us. That's what we live for.
That's the fuel, right?
That's
the reason. You know, guys, I'll be very. I'll share something with you. When things are not right with me for whatever reason, okay, I get in a knit over something, and it doesn't happen to me often. But I'll tell you, and maybe the reason why it doesn't happen very often is because I try to do a little bit of astronomy outreach every day somehow. Okay. This is one of the ways, okay, just having this conversation. But when things are really not right with me, if I can take a telescope out, and I haven't done it yet because of the pandemic, all right, but when I can, and I let other people look through the telescope, and they see Saturn's rings for the first time, or they see the craters on the moon for the first time, and I watch their eyes, just to see if they widen or they hear them gasp or something like that, because then I know that they're exploring, that their minds have changed, that something good has happened. Yeah. Something good has happened, and some people can verbalize that experience. Some people can't. All of us that have done astronomy outreach have probably witnessed somebody cry after seeing Saturn's rings, So
a deep moment for a lot of people is that deep connection
moment. It really is.
And that's what astronomy, that's what astronomy can do. As I say, for anyone watching who's never actually gone out and looked through a telescope to see, I mean, dark sky. Go under a dark sky. There's that awe and wonder. Right? That awe and wonder. It's a humbling experience too. It's very humbling. Puts things into perspective. So, and that's what, AWB, that connect, it's that connection,
exactly.
We've talked a lot. This is something that we talk a lot about, but it's doing good. It's just doing something good in the world. And, in today's crazy world, I think AWB is needed more than ever.
Oh, yeah.
What we're experiencing.
And really, it's simple. You just have to go and look. Right? And just let it all, just bring it all in. And it's really there for you.
It doesn't cost very much at all, right? I mean, you've got a smartphone,
Yeah.
uh, and you know, you can make telescopes. I mean, uh, or there's all kinds of naked eye astronomy you can do. There's binocular astronomy you can do. There's all kinds of things. You don't have to have thousands of dollars worth of gear. You don't even need hundreds of dollars worth of gear.
No.
Okay, you need to have an open mind, and you need to be willing to explore, you know, and take it in. So
it is, it's true. And I bet you anything, though, if you do take the time and you be patient with it, you'll catch many people catch the bug. And then,
Yeah.
yes, you will want to progress in the hobby.
oh,
You will
sure.
want to progress
Yeah,
and
if you want to
explore.
make that a deep part of your life, then yeah, you're going to need tools. But you can take it step by step. You can even start off with used gear. You know,
Mhm.
not, you know, when whatever boat or ship or canoe comes in, okay,
Right. That's
you
right.
know, or that little bit that you set aside or whatever, or you belong to other groups, you know,
Yeah.
and buy things in groups. That's certainly possible. Clubs do that a lot. They'll buy, you know, the scope of their dreams as a collective, you know. So, but that can be done on many levels, and so you know, I'm really happy that you two have devoted yourself to this and are committed in the way that you are. You know, uh, you know, it's something that you're changing people's lives. You know.
Yeah.
That's it. We have one more slide here to
Okay.
show people this is what it's all about. This is the message we're putting out for people. You know, we really believe it. You're not alone. You look to the stars. There's a community supporting you. One people, one sky.
Yeah, that's it. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for being on with me. This is a really interesting and informative hour that we get to spend here. I want to thank all the people that joined in with us and, you know, gave comments and questions. That's great. And I hope to have you on again, you know, in a future show. So, you guys keep looking up and, and good night, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much,
Thank
Scott,
you so
for
much,
everything.
Scott.
You've been a great supporter of AWB over the years.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks. And good night. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Night.
Clear skies.
Bye.